I'm gonna just come next though.
4, 3, 2, 1. We have
Yeah.
Understand this.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's your favorite time of the week. Understand this. Give it up for the man whose name is a verb, Finesse Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. We back. Hear what I say. It's cracking today. We don't play. And I got my girl, Miss Andra Day. I said I got my girl.
House is about to parlay.
Hey.
Hey, let's do an album.
I know we should. I forgot. Super dope songwriter over here.
Yep.
And people, when I tell you that, a lot of times I get excited. I got goosebumps under my black shirt. I actually pressed the shirt today, Jeannie. I said, let me press
Took
the
the
shirt.
iron out and ironed the shirt.
I ironed the damn
The starch out.
Bruh, no starch. The minute you use starch, that raises questions in the house. Like, wait a minute, who gets starch? Who's getting starch?
Where you going?
Where you going?
We still starting.
Yeah, we still starching. We doing that? That's what we doing now? People, I have my brand new good friend. And when I say brand new, we probably met, it was like a year ago. Like a little bit over a year ago. And I'm happy to introduce you to the songstress, the actress, whether she knows it or not, she probably does, the activist, the beautiful Andra Day. What's up?
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
So I wasn't gonna.
Neighbor, you didn't mention neighbor.
And my neighbor. And the reason I didn't mention neighbor, is because, all right, we live in a nice little cul-de-sac tucked away underneath some mountain, and it's full of we have a lot of Indians in our neighborhood. We have a lot of Asians in our neighborhood. We don't have a lot of us in our neighborhood.
No.
So it's me and it's Andra, right? And now here's the crazy part. Why she still got her Christmas tree and Christmas decorations up.
No,
and she
bro.
know we don't. Yeah, she does.
Hey, don't put her on blast on the
I have to.
podcast,
First of all,
bro.
player, my Christmas tree is down. Okay, both of them is down. Okay, what is up? Listen, I'm not gonna lie. You have been signed out because your account is signed in from my computer doing something crazy. Listen, but okay, listen. Here's the thing.
All right,
I've
people.
been busy.
Here's the
You
explanation.
know what I'm saying? Okay, and I have this handyman friend who kind of helps us, with stuff around the house. But I've been busy, and I have no excuse. My Christmas lights are still up, and my mother still lights them. So why did I walk in the house the other day? I told my mom, I said, Mom, just because the Christmas lights are still up, we don't need to light them. That shit is embarrassing. Do not light the light.
Turns them
can't
on.
Plugging them in every day.
Bro, my daughters at night say, let's go see the reindeer. It is March. Let's go to the lady with the reindeer house.
It's crazy. When it was Christmas time, that shit was lit. But now it's like, hey, that looks.
You know what's so funny? What is so real, bro, is when she put now people was putting their Christmas lights out. Andrew put out reindeer and had the lights all connected to the house, and so the front yard was lit. So I felt pressure. Like I said, no, she didn't.
Shine me.
How she gonna do that? My kids looking at me like, yeah. So
Yeah, exactly.
Dad.
Like, Dad, we don't want the multicolored string of lights anymore.
Man, I went to Target that day, bought one string of lights, and just laid them in the ground. No, not even in no design, just one line of Christmas lights going across the yard. Because I wasn't gonna compete with Rudolph and all. She had the reindeer, bro. So I was impressed. But when it just comes to our people, and I'm glad that we talking about our people.
Come on now.
When they say it don't matter how high you rise. There will still be that one line of our generation that will leave Christmas ornaments up till March.
Until July.
Until July. Andrew, let me tell you something. Okay, so I love the way we got to know each other because it was very organic, and it was the day that you came home and you said that and we had the family out, and you said I finally wrapped this movie, so I'm just like dog tired, but it's just like, whew, I got to shake
Yeah.
this character, and I'm going to miss all my friends. We were together for 2 years. So I'm like, what movie? I mean, what movie? Did I hear movie?
Right.
What movie? Oh, I just played, I was just in a movie, a Billie Holiday movie. I said, oh, that's dope, Billie Holiday. Yeah, iconic. That's great. Who were you? I was Billie Holiday. I was like, oh, it was Billie Holiday. Who did my voice kept getting higher and higher.
Right.
Who did the movie? Lee Daniels. Oh, Lee Daniels. What? And you was Billie. And I was like, okay, and where do you live? Okay, you right here. This is you right here, huh? Wow.
This is right here.
Wow. Let me Google me. Bro, I was just
Let me Google me.
so after watching this movie, first of all, everything you're about to get, you deserve.
Amen.
The performance and the movie and the supporting cast, everybody. Billie Holiday, the United States versus Billie Holiday, everybody. It is the best movie of a year that is not even nowhere close to being done yet. But this will definitely be the best movie.
Wow.
The performances,
Absolutely.
we get the screeners. We get the whole, how it is. They send you the screeners of what they considering, and black folks don't never have no representation. There's no way.
That's real.
No way you can watch the United States versus Billie Holiday. Please tell me you've been acting since you were 3.
Oh no. This was my first time.
Whoa.
So I had it. I went to a musical. I went to a performing arts school when I was young, but my primary focus was dance and music. And then I did some musical theater when I was in like middle school and high school. But yeah, no, this was my first role. So ever.
Wow, that's an
Which
epic
almost
first
ruined
role.
me for
everybody
anyone
out
to
there
come.
right now, for half the people out there right now saying, I hate her already. No.
I do not like her at all.
I do. I hate Rise Up.
Not that song, it get on my nerves.
You said it almost ruined you?
You've been a part. I'm just going back and just looking now, eyes wide open. This trajectory, bro, is incredible.
Absolutely.
Is incredible.
It's exponential now. It's about to, yeah.
What was
thank you, family.
I feel like you're now attaching yourself to not only black culture, but you're attaching yourself to how we're learning or relearning black history.
Absolutely.
Through these stories, through our eyes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
I think for too long, the history books were written by the authority, and there were so many obscured stories. But now film is playing this activist role in bringing unknown stories to light.
Yeah, I think that's key with this film. It's actually a conversation Brian Stevenson and I would have of the Equal Justice Initiative, right? Is to tell these stories. Creatives telling these stories, but even deeper than that, our textbooks, right? Our school textbooks need to change. I take care of like my young cousin, and in one of their textbooks, when they talk about slavery, it says slavery, a difficult situation. It's like, wow, I have never heard a more inaccurate description of slavery. You know what I mean? But they're written by a sort of the overarching culture and authority that wants to persist that wants to continue to sort of persist in a system of supremacy and racial inequity. So I think it's so important. It is imperative. I always say if we live in a system of racial inequality that was built on lies, right? That was built on deception, then the only thing that can actually dismantle the system is truth. And that's what, she was telling, that's what this movie is. That's what Strange Fruit, her song was. And that's what we see with, for instance, Judas and the Black Messiah, you know what I mean? It's what we saw with Hidden Figures, right? 3 Black women were actually responsible for getting us to space and programming the first computer. People should know that it was a Black slave infiltrating the enemy camp that even netted America their independence, right? Or Carver keeping us from spiraling during the Depression. So or that Beethoven was African, right? All of these stories have to be told.
I'm waiting for her to say conjunction, junction. What she has run down the whole gamut of how you could just learn Black history on a Saturday morning in between cartoons.
There you go. Exactly.
Keep going.
Yeah, but my point is that it's really, there has been an effort, a real effort made to suppress our stories and to change and manipulate and just flat out lie about our narratives. Because, in order to continue a system like this, you have to really limit the scope of people's struggle and the scope of their contribution, which is even greater, and their triumph, which is even greater. So we have to, we need to do that, and it's on this part of not just us, because we just be living and doing what we do, but our allies as well to, to create these stories and to make platforms available to tell these stories,
Hollywood is definitely getting a little bit more open, with our stories, just a little, but I've been out here long enough to see this shift. It's a real shift. So I applaud that part. Before I dive into Billie Holiday, just listening to everything you said, here's another thing that after watching that movie, it made me realize is that what went on back then, as far as them just wanting to hide what they did. They don't mind them. They don't mind doing it and being in the act of doing it and seeing it to like closure. Like this will be the end story. But right after that, they don't want nobody to talk about it. They don't want anybody to shine light on it. And that is what's going on today. You can have and not to get too political, you can have a Capitol riot, but then at the end of the day, they're like, it didn't happen. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like,
or it wasn't that bad.
It's almost like a cognitive dissonance. And that's because these systems are created by this Western colonial move, and it's embedded deep in there. And to untie that, it causes this cognitive dissonance where
slavery, it happened.
It's difficult. Yeah.
It was difficult.
The same people who were sort of, at the core of creating this kind of disparity are the same people that are reporting on it, right? And the same people that are, it's like the police investigating themselves. It's that idea, you know what I mean? Sort of like, I was just like heartbroken when I saw there was one. And listen, I will never root for the downfall of anyone as much as I'd be tempted. But the way my faith is set up,
right?
I'm just gonna pray for you,
right?
But I'm gonna pray really angrily, you know what I mean? but I was disappointed to see and to hear. There was a man who was. We saw all of the interviews. We saw the police let them into the Capitol. We saw all of that, right? I don't remember the man's name, and I don't care to remember it, but. That was beating people with hockey sticks, with flags, with all this stuff, was like really assaulting people and had the intent. I mean, he admitted in an interview before storming the Capitol that his intent was to go in and to murder everyone in that building. He said, death is for everyone in that building. And that's what we're here to do. And that's right. So that is premeditated, right? Attempted murder, that's, and then you're an insurrection, right? Treason, and then actual assault, and they and it's funny because I think the same people will pat themselves on the back, and this is an even broader conversation, right? It will pat this has to do with a culture and with a conditioning, not a Republican or a Democrat or all this stuff as well, but this on both sides there is a conditioning to say we'll pat ourselves on the back because now we're charging these people, they're being charged as criminals. Well, you charge that man with that's a terrorist. You charge that man with a public disturbance.
Right.
You know what I mean? My brothers and sisters are dead for selling CDs. My young brother, Khalif Browder, is dead and spent so much time in prison and tortured for so long because he was accused of stealing a backpack at 16 years old, which he was innocent for. They couldn't even find, as if anyone has seen the documentary Time. Right. So this idea that it's we don't want to be too severe with them. And I'm like, but that's what we're talking about. And I don't want you to be less precious with them. I just want you to be as precious with us. You know what I mean? Right. It matters, these lives. And so I think that's hopefully what these stories can kind of begin to sort of, normalize,
When you jumped into this role, I don't know what your method was. There's no way I would have been able to get that performance. And like in between takes, I'm like, hey, so who hungry? I would have had to stay watching her. I would have had to stay that character the entire time. Like, don't even call me by my name.
And that's got to be difficult and emotional.
That has to be difficult.
It's got to be hard.
And this your first time out the gate. What are you drawing from?
I mean, it was difficult, and it was exactly that. It's funny because so Lee Daniels was, listen, he is a brilliant director. The layers of humanity that you get from Billie, every day he would come to set and surprise us with some new thing that he was going to do. And it was just like, it made us love our characters even more, made us love him. But he actually connected me with Tasha Smith, like when we were starting the audition process. Once I actually agreed to
shout out to Tasha Smith, bro. She's
Tasha Smith, yes, that's my sister, my blood, that's my family. I love her so much, and so she really. She taught me one technique and one method, but what I love about her is her whole thing is fluidity. You know what I mean? She's sort of like, I can teach you this. You can etch out all of these things for these scenes and you can do A, B, and C and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, when you get to set, you need to be fluid. You've got to be like putty or like water in Lee's hands. He can pour and move you and mold you however he needs to. And so, I was pulling from, Billie, I was pulling from, of course, the great, I wanted to just sort of seek out what was great about Diana's performance that everyone loved so much, that I loved so much in Lady Sings the Blues. What were the elements that made Audra McDonald's performance on Broadway great? Right. And then my own grandmother, just being a Black woman in America, my mother and family trauma, you know what I mean? I don't know what it is like to the extent that Billie Holiday knows, to have people targeting you or to feel betrayed or to feel suffocated, but I'm still a Black woman in America, which comes with its own inherent set of traumas and a sense of almost invisibility, which is, I think, why we fight so hard to be successful and to be seen and to, we're very resilient. And then the other part was, just familial trauma as well, too. I know what it's like. I happen to be a Christian person. And I say a Christian faith, not religion, but a spirit, like a relationship with Christ. But I know what it's like to be betrayed, by the church pastor or members, or, and that was something, and to sit in that and sort of the breakdown of my family. And these are things that you compartmentalize, or as I say, lay down in order to be healthy and to move on. So you had to really sit in that and stew. I started drinking. I don't drink. I don't know if you know, but I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't even have sex or cuss typically. I'm still trying to work that part out of my system. But and so I did. I started smoking cigarettes for the role and drinking so much gin. And I lost almost 40 pounds and, just
you lost weight. You lost weight smoking and drinking. Yeah. I hate her. I hate her.
Well, if you don't hate me too much, because I was smoking and drinking, but I wasn't eating nothing else. So shit. So it was a long, extensive, lengthy process. And yeah, I had to stay in it on set. Everyone would call me Billie or Lady. As a matter of fact, that's all they knew me as. Like Natasha Lyonne told me the other day, she was like, this is weird talking to you. I only know you as her. Now I feel like I'm just getting to know you for the first time. So it's a weird experience,
I love the humor. There was a underlying humor to Billie Holiday in your portrayal of it that reminded you of, I would say that auntie where you're like, auntie coming? Oh, you know what I mean? Because she say what she want. You don't know what state of mind she's going to be in. You don't know if she's going to be sober or not. But one thing she is going to be is pretty damn harsh with the truth and reality, and just like she not cutting no corners. the fluidity of homie brought out 2 dresses, and the dude was like, oh, neither one of them is gonna cost me an arm and a leg. You said both of them, and tell him Henry gonna send you an arm. Whoever put the way it was the humor was so quick, it was so conversational, bro. Yeah. And I was just like,
it was familial. Like she's tapping into the Black experience, amazing. So it's going to remind you of family. Yeah.
There is.
Yes, and it should. And chosen family.
Yes.
There's something very, very special about chosen
flawed chosen family.
Yes, yeah. Let's say that.
There's something very special about how we insulate them people and we make them feel normal at the table until they start getting loud. Right?
Absolutely. Until we're like, somebody got to do something. No, absolutely.
This her first time over here. I want her to come back. Can you come? He always be acting like this. Come on. Right. Nah, and what girl say? No, he okay. He cute. You see that? She think I'm cute.
That's whoa.
Yep.
You about 2-3 uncles I know of right now.
That's too close to home.
No, but that was Billy. That was one of the things that loved me that loved me the most. Lord, come on, sis. That I love the most about Lady was her magnetism. There's a great book if you ever get a chance to read. It's called With Billy, and it's the first touch of Jimmy Fletcher that we get. And in the book, it's all just people's experiences. It's exactly what the title is, people's experiences with her. And she was magnetic. Like there was just something about her, as you said, that's a straight shooter.
Right.
She doesn't know any other way. She's not trying to be a straight shooter. She just is like almost dysfunctional in the fact that she has no, sensitivity to the room, but she's very herself, and she allows people to be who they are. She loves them and celebrates them and allows them to be present who they are, where they're at. There's no judgment. There is no judgment when it comes to her and her engagement with other people. So much so, as you see in the film, she's able to forgive Jimmy Fletcher because she can see he is just a young person trying to do something with his life. He believes the bullshit they feeding him, that he's going to be successful in the agency, the FBN, which is now the DEA, but the Federal Bureau of Narcotics, the FBI, that he'll be successful and he'll do. She feels empathy, I think, for him from a Black man, knowing that they are not supporting him at all, and they're just using him to take the community down. And they've done this, right, since the plantation, since the transatlantic, even, and so I think she has such intuition and such empathy for people that she didn't hold it over his head, even him, sending her to prison. And it was something he felt guilty about for the rest of his life. You know what you made it feel like in that first scene of meeting him? No, in the when he betrayed, when he basically said, "Hey, knock knock, you going to jail." When you met him, it was just this, oh, look at this little kid. Look at this eye candy here.
Right.
Your mama know where you at. You know what I mean? That's how you was treating him. And then when you were forgiving him, you just kind of looked at him like, look at all this ambition, but channeled in the wrong direction. And you felt sorry for him. That he would probably be great at doing anything, and look what you chose. At anything. And look what you chose, and against your own people. And I guess and you forgiving him probably fucked him up even more. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
wow,
I think
so.
She's still allowing me to love her.
Well, and I think that there was a part of Billie Holiday where she felt like there was, as frustrating and as hurtful as it was for her to be betrayed, for her to be sent to prison, she did not feel good enough for him. And this is why she was not able to receive his love. You know what I mean? And it's, and
that was my next question.
He's like, you said what?
I said that was my next question.
Yes.
My next question was, with the guys that she had been in business with and in bed with, when the guy finally, let's take the betrayal thing let's take taking you to jail out of the equation. When this guy really showed you, hey, you deserve this type of love. I've been wanting to give you this love since I brought you these flowers on the first day, Right, exactly. Right. But this is what you deserve, because whatever you used to, I'm so far not that. And you rewarded the dude the next day with, hey, get my bags.
Gotta go. Because there's this other nigga.
Bill, I've been driving all night now. Bill, I've been driving all night now. Call me. I'm here. Get in the car.
Yeah. Like, I just feel like you're so nice. You know what I mean? You're going to be like, wait a minute. But yeah, it was. And I think for her, he was scarier for her than any. She saw him as sort of above the underworld that she was used to. You know what I mean? Billie Holiday was raped at 10. She was sent to a reform school for girls for being raped by a 40-year-old man, forced to have an abortion at a young age. She grew up in a brothel. She was sent to a brothel when she was a child, so she was used to being raped and misused and abused by men, betrayed. There would be men that would come in to sleep with her. She would base everything off of their size. It was like, well, nope, sorry, that's not for me. That's for the person next door. And there was one guy in particular, and it happened a few times, but there was one in particular. Her first time she went to prison was actually when she was 14 years old. And it's because she wouldn't sleep with him, not for any other reason other than that wasn't the type of men she was supposed to sleep with in the brothel.
Right.
And so he was so mad and so offended by it that they called the police and had her and her mother thrown in prison. And so, she had been used to being beaten, abused, raped, taken advantage of. And what happened is that it really just, and to be honest, I mean, she's a Black woman living at that time, you know, so it's unfortunate that, you know, your man beating you or being physically abusive is a part of his love at that time. You know what I mean? And that was a hard thing for me, was to normalize that.
Right.
And shit, we see it
because
now,
everybody,
you know,
from day one, everybody who met you was just like, yeah, I own her. From like day one. Yeah,
right
if you take my money,
so,
I own you.
Exactly. And so, you know, for her, though she wasn't a victim in her mind, it was but those were also, you know, the men that she was familiar with. Jimmy Fletcher threatened to hurt her emotionally, and that's what caused the drug use anyway. You know what I mean? Was her trauma and her pain and the mental illness behind it. So that emotional pain was way scarier for her than the idea of being physically abused. You know what I mean? She still had her emotional pain, but it was just she felt like he was too good for her, and it was too scary to put herself on the line and possibly be hurt. She'd rather just go with, you know, the niggas that were familiar, that would beat her up and do, because she knew how to handle them. She was familiar, she was used to them, and that felt safe for her. Right.
There's a lot of women do that today, Playboy.
They do. Honestly, I mean, I was, you know, a little bit not physically abusive, you know, but just sort of emotionally or whatever in a situation. I was like, wow, this is really toxic, and you make space for it because we want to believe, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, I give a nigga, you get a year and a half, you know what I'm saying? And you show me your ass in a year and a half, and we done.
Right. I was going to say, personally, have you, as far as, personally, is there a connection that you saw yourself personally having with Billie Holiday? Like, not to this extent, but it's hard. Let me connect it this way. Young, well, not young, but a Black female, talented in this music business, and people can't pat you on the butt no more, like back in the day in the movie. Yeah. But as far as the deals you may want to get, or what you think you're deserving of compared to another artist, or just wanting things to be the same, was there a connection there for you personally, and was that easy to make? If that makes any sense.
When it comes to that, unfortunately, I would love to say no, but yes, you know what I mean? It is. I'm hoping we get to a place where this is not the case anymore, but as Black women, we are constantly fighting for our value, you know what I mean? And that is, and just our value in representation, our value monetarily, you know, like, and so, and our value just our ability to be able to live and breathe as layered human beings, right? I mean, people sort of want Black women to have one note. Right. And they actually don't even agree on what that one note is. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, be calm, be quiet, don't really say anything. You know what I mean? Oh, don't be too angry, don't be whatever. Oh, or, you know, don't be, you know, sort of inappropriate or crass. And then on the other side, it's like hypersexualization. We want you to have your ass out and have all of this. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, it's constantly trying to dodge people's expectations of how we should be, what we should be. Well, you know, even when I was first coming out, I loved sort of rockabilly vintage culture, and I didn't see us represented in that space, which I'm like, why wouldn't we be? You know what I mean? We're sort of the cultivators of fashion and style, and Billie Holiday being one of my style icons, you know, Dorothy Dandridge, Pearl Bailey, Lucille Ball, you know. So I'm like, why wouldn't we be? And then, you know, at the beginning it was sort of like, oh, that's a weird, you know, Black girls don't dress like that. You know what I mean? And so just this idea of people's having to navigate people's expectations, you know, mine does not typically on a daily basis threaten to put me in prison. Right. Or to kill me. But yeah, it's and then the other part is the using your voice, right? And using your platform. Billie Holiday wasn't like, I'm going to be an activist. She was just like, yo, it's fucked up. Stop lynching people. You know what I mean? We need to be equal. This doesn't make any sense. We're human. You know, we're human. The second class citizen, me having to go through elevator doors or eat with the animals in the back or not enter a restaurant, or, you know, she just was like, it ain't right. And I know it's not right. And so, but when Black women raise their voices, we get the other paintbrush, which goes, you're so angry. Y'all are always mad about something. Y'all are always blah, blah, blah. And in my mind, I go, well, nigga, if you had the experience we had, you know what I'm saying? Let's see where you would be at, you know? And so, but we still continue to fight. We see it on down to Stacey Abrams and what she did in this last election. So, you know, it's yes, there are absolutely parallels there with Billie Holiday.
I think that comes through beautifully in the film too, is that you need to use your voice and say something. And if you think about it, Billie Holiday is the bridge between the first half of the century in this post-Reconstruction era leading into civil rights. So without Billie Holiday and Strange Fruit, you wouldn't have some of the groundwork and some of the sentiment going into the civil rights movement.
Bro, when I tell you.
And actually even further than that, and this is one of the things that I say in all of these interviews, one of my goals is that people now can say thank you to her. And she is the godmother of the civil rights movement. Yes. She truly is, as we know it today. Because it was her singing Strange Fruit in defiance of the government and integrating audiences. We have to remember that is powerful for that time for a Black woman that the government hated. You know what I mean? That for her to be one of the first artists to integrate Carnegie Hall, or, this was so important to her. And it was actually her singing Strange Fruit. We only know that the death of Emmett Till sparked the civil rights movement, right? Mm-hmm. The government did not want us to know that it was Billie Holiday singing Strange Fruit that reinvigorated Thurgood Marshall and the movement. And a lot of the great civil rights leaders that we saw, the Rosa Parks, the Medgravers, the Asadas, the Angela Davises, the MLKs and the Malcolms, and all of the other unsung heroes of the civil rights movement, or lesser known heroes of the civil rights movement. So I think a lot of people don't know that her singing that song emboldened a lot of us, which is why you see in the movie, it was so important for them to silence her unto her death and unto her demise. Right. And to do it in a way, and this is why people, why didn't they just straight out kill her? Because they did kill her. She died of cirrhosis of the liver, but she was actually trying to get clean and was making strides. What you don't see is that she would go into rehab and they would plant drugs in her rehab room. You know what I mean? So you could imagine being in rehab and turning over and seeing heroin sitting on your nightstand, And so it was that sort of diet. They wanted to destroy her in a way that would destroy her legacy and people's curiosity for her. Because you couldn't just go, she's singing Strange Fruit, she's integrating audience, let's shoot her dead. Even though they tried that. Right. It was more, as we know, J. Edgar Hoover's sort of evil genius was to destroy from the inside out so that we as a community reject her and don't care about the narrative because she was a problem and she was troubled and she's sort of not good for the look of Black folks. That was part of his genius in undoing her legacy, but fortunately he was not able to kill the song, but he was able to control the narrative in that way for a long time. Right.
They good at that.
That's to our earlier point about who controls history.
They are good at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
To this day, it's going to be in a textbook that people got mad and marched and showed their displeasure at the Capitol on January 6th. And that's all it's going to say. And we're going to say, wait a minute, was that the riots?
Some upset patriots. Yeah.
Then the narrative will change into just like a militia, really unsatisfied with the government, really showed, that they're right.
And they painted it outside in a circle for 24 hours straight until.
I can't. Yeah. You know what's so funny? I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to say this, and I probably shouldn't, but I don't really care, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But when people ask me, they're like, oh my God, isn't this the worst thing? And this is the craziest things you've seen these people do. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, no, Charles, that's what they do. Right. I was like, y'all are surprised. Right. But we live this shit. They be doing. I said, white folks do crazy shit like this to us on a daily basis. So I'm like, y'all just seeing it all concentrated at a Capitol. I was like,
right. Y'all just seen it turned against yourself.
This is your first time seeing it.
This is your first time seeing it turned against yourself.
See, that's why.
Such hallowed grounds that there was no level of chill. And when you saw that type of anger existed, now you're sort of like, well, wait a minute. They come to my neighborhood. You still won't say they were thugs. You still won't describe them the same way that we'll get described
as terrorists.
But now you'll say insurrectionists, and now you won't even say that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's going to keep getting watered down, and it just takes people.
Because again, the preciousness of white life and white existence by, even white people who don't like them or don't agree with them. You know what I mean? It's sort of like, it's what we saw with, what's the rapist's name? Dylan, whatever his name was. The murder at oh my God, Charleston. What's his name? Dylan Roof.
Oh, Dylan Roof.
Yeah, Dylan Roof.
That shot the people at the church.
This kid was taken to go get a burger. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and it's not that I'm saying treat him terribly. It's not. I mean, after what he did, but it's difficult for me not to say that. But I say that first of all because of my faith and in honor of the victims, because I believe they would have been forgiving, because you could, they were so welcoming even when he came in. But I it's the preciousness. Listen, we don't want to overreact. You know what I mean? You only don't want to overreact when it comes to white culture. You know what I mean? But you will overreact and boil it down into just like, okay, this was just one incident or one, you know what I mean? It's just, that's the idea. It's like, we don't want to overreact. And the kid who raped the girl behind the dumpster. But we don't want to overreact and take his whole life from him. And da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, but what'd you do to Khalif? That's a stolen backpack. You know what I mean? That's not, that it just, yeah. Anyway, that was one of my inspirations, actually, Khalif Browder, hugely when I was on set, because it's hard for me to think about him or even look at his eyes without crying, because it just, to see his soul after he got out of jail and what they took from him, is he represents a lot of young boys, who've been through this.
What do you feel like? Because, hey, first of all, let me switch gears for a second. I'm very excited in what you might have coming up next, because like most people, they were probably like, ooh, I want to put her next to, and they're always pairing up something. So I hope that acting is something that, you're like, oh yeah, I'm in the game now, because you're definitely dope at it. And so, and I wanted to ask this other question, music-wise, because it's taken me a long time to say this, but basically what I'm saying is that I feel like I'm a huge fan of R&B. I feel like I'm a huge fan of like adult music, dope music, young music. So to just like be aware of you, like right at Rise Up, and even when you said it that day, I did. So yeah, I know that song. Oh, that's dope. Oh yeah. And here I am, Jeannie. Keep going. Keep going. Keep your foot on their neck.
Keep going.
Keep going. But to later, say, look down the street and say, oh yeah, I might need to help her put her garbage on the front or take it back to the back, because she's gonna be busy for a while.
And you be seeing it. Look, I told you when Christmas was here, it looked like I had my shit together. We had the reindeer was popping. Now that we're in February, it's like, is this okay in there?
But even my wife was like, yo, we got to make sure we support her, because she's going to be busy. You know what I mean? Certain people give performances, and then you're like, oh, well, you can do that. Oh, now you're about to be busy. Same thing the way when people saw Tiffany Haddish in Girls Trip, and they were like, oh, we already got the next 10 comedies planned out for you.
Already lined up for her. Yeah.
We're gonna pair you up with blah 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 blah. And you like, and how Tiffany is. She ain't funny. And you like, don't say that out loud. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
You guys got the same type of spirit and energy though. And what I do like about her and like about you, and even in this moment, to be serious, Andrew, you're like, oh yeah, when you want to do it, let's do it. Let's knock that out. You know what I mean? Versus, mind you, there's some people that, you know what I mean, that I've been knowing for years. But sometimes the business will get a hold of you where something that you would normally do, because you just feeling the synergy of somebody, you get 2 or 3 more opinions, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
I don't know. And
that's very true.
And you don't have that energy at all.
No,
and that's something that I definitely want people to know about how authentic, she is. Because sometimes she can wave at me, and I'll be jogging around the block like, I'm busy.
There's a couple times, and I feel like I'm like the awkward, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh hey, and I'm like, oh yeah, he didn't see me this time. But your wife is lit because she always waved, okay?
Yeah, yes.
I love her and the kids. No, y'all are amazing, literally amazing neighbors. No, I appreciate that. Listen, to be honest with you, there's probably some people out there who feel that way on the other side of the spectrum about me, but it's not because I don't, like, I will tell you, I get just like distracted. I think that's the thing, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to like be so like, yeah, I'm on everything. I'm not like, it's just some shit that I will let slip between the cracks or whatever. Just when I get busy, I get distracted, and I'm kind of naturally, like I can be, obviously, as you say, I can be really like cool and like social and and all these things. But the reality is I am very reclusive. Like I like to be in my space, in my comfort zone and at home and all this stuff. And so it's hard sometimes for me to orient things when it's all of this stuff going on, So I'm like, I'm sure there's probably people out there that was like, nah, she never called me back. Like, just know it wasn't intentional. It's because I literally, hold on, let me look. This sounds so fucking bad, but I'm not used to it. And so I'm having people help me feel the stuff, because I don't want to miss shit like that, because I have a real desire to I love the idea of growing horizontally. You know what I mean? I just feel like I believe in divine connections and divine appointments. And So I feel like whoever you run into is who you run into for a reason. It's some reason for that exchange, even if it's just for that moment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's hard because in the industry, you know, of course, it's always like I believe in growing horizontally as opposed to grappling for things. You kind of have to do a balance of both, you know,
Right.
but I just feel like there are seasons and there are waves. And so there'd be popping group of people and everybody wants to work and reach up, but I'm a slow burn. I'm sort of like, that's okay. Because me and my cast and Finesse and blah, 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 when we on that level and we pop in and people are great. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like sort of community growth, you know?
Absolutely.
But I still am so bad. Like I can't even I don't want to front and be like, yeah, I'm on. I'm not.
No, but it's a natural thing.
Hold on. Wait, you see them text messages?
What's the number? Hold on.
What's the number? Touch the screen.
How do I get it to do?
Oh, it's not focusing.
This shit tripping. Hold on.
It's 2,000 probably.
And it went to a different screen. Go back.
Damn, that's weird. Okay, here we go.
Well, I was right.
She was right. 2,500. 2,500 texts. That's crazy.
Yo, I want I have anxiety when it comes to communication too.
One day somebody was looking at my Gmail or whatever. And so they were literally like, okay, does that say 300,000, 390, emails? Like that's unread? You got to clean that out. You probably missed a lot of stuff. And I'm like, yo, sometimes stuff got to be, sometimes you scroll so far and if you don't see nothing, like you're like, okay, let it go. But man, you'll miss so much stuff. Seriously. When I first came onto the scene and did the whole SNL thing, if we had social media like that, no man,
over.
It would be done. Everybody who's iconic right now, or who's built horizontally, or who's the culture right now, they was in New York City between 2000 and 2005. You know, they were there. And they were in the clubs and we were all young and everybody was talking about what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. And it's so weird to be like, damn, they did that shit. Or have somebody see you like, I see you, boy. Like you just get a random text from like, oh, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But you're growing, and we didn't have the connection. And even when we did, it was a taboo to turn your phone to each other and be like, hey, you didn't tell people who you were with.
Yeah.
You being right now, like sizzling on fire right now, and people can just DM you. Oh man, there's no way you can keep up with everything.
Let me tell. Speaking of DMs, that's probably another group of people mad at me. Nick, first of all, listen, I have a very love-hate relationship with Instagram because it stresses me out. I can't figure it out all the time. So every time I discover, oh wow, this thing about Instagram, then it creates a new thing or whatever. Right. So when I tell you, I found out. I was looking at my DMs. Because somebody had told me, somebody was like, oh, your DMs must be popping. I was like, no, my fans are pretty. I was like, nobody really slides into my DMs. I just be chilling. And my fans I was like, everybody just really respectful. It's mostly people that I know. And mostly people, it was like, what do you mean mostly people you know? I was like, I don't know. Most of the people who come in my DMs, nobody who I don't know really comes in. They were like, huh. And
then you hit that other button.
I found the 99 plus button.
plus.
Years, bro. Whenever they started that private DM, however, I didn't know until literally a couple weeks ago. So I was like, literally, when I first opened that box, the first name at the top was like Shaq, and I was like,
yo.
Yo, this is Shaq. I'm about to retire from the NBA. I would like for you to come to my party. That was 10 years ago. I've been missing shit.
He was so nice. He was just congratulatory, like people were just, and that's the worst part. It's not even people doing fuck shit in my DMs. They're just being nice to me. Like they're being like, we're so proud of you, queen. We love, I'm like, epic. Oh my God.
Yes,
that's
so
epic.
I finally responded to him recently, actually, just to be like, thank you. You've inspired so many people. But I was just like horrified, literally.
Right.
Nicole Kidman, like it was crazy.
I have been, Denzel Washington has been waiting for me to reply for 2 months.
I felt so, and there's people, listen, let me put it to you like this. There were people that I thought, I was like, damn, I guess they just don't fuck with me. Okay, it's cool. Like we'll meet up someday in the future. I guess they don't, they don't really, I look in my DMs, I was like, wow, bitch, they think you don't fuck with them.
Right, right.
You're the diva.
I'm like, I just discovered it. Oh my God. And I'm trying to like go, but everybody has been so kind though and so nice, but so now I'm just getting
Oprah's secret party. Why didn't I open this? Oh my God.
You know what's funny too? And my little cousin, you know, Elena, my baby cousin, who I take care of, who's really, she's my baby girl. But she actually biologically, she's my cousin. She was with me when I was looking. She was like, "Damn, I feel like a lot of people don't like you." I was like,
Wow.
Andrew didn't respond to nobody.
like, oh,
Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible 5.
Oh my God. It was brands who were like, "We want to work with you." Oh my God. I literally
MGM and Paramount want me to be a Bond girl.
Yeah. few movies in those DMs right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So now I'm trying to go through them all and, figure it out. But I was so embarrassed. Oh my God.
All deservedly so. When is the new album dropping?
Oh, so we actually have a date now. Finally, June 4th is when the new album drops. So I'm really
Gemini
excited.
season. We dropping heat.
Drop that.
So it was, and so actually, Tigress and Tweed from the movie. It's the song from the movie. Damn, my nail broke. Oh, so it's the song from the movie, but it's actually the first single off of the new album as well too. So the other singles start to come in April, and then the album will drop in June.
The hip hop version. I don't know who produced it, but what you played on Fallon. Oh, fire!
Yeah.
Fire.
Yes. Oh, thank you. That's Tigress and Tweed. So that's the song.
Yeah.
That's the end title for the movie United States versus Billie Holiday, and it was. And Raphael Sadiq actually produced it, and I was like struggling to write those lyrics, and then it came after a prayer. Honestly, it came the same way Rise Up came. Like I prayed about it, and then all these lyrics just came pouring out. And one of the questions that I was asking, I guess myself, or just asking the Spirit, was, what if Billie Holiday were alive today? How would she have wanted to see Strange Fruit evolved? You know what I mean? And one of the first things that came to mind is like, central. I think we share the similar faith, right? Finesse, I think maybe did we touch on that before?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so hanging on the tree, right? I look at it as for the way I believe that Christ is not hanging on a tree anymore. Why we should not be hanging. So I had a real need to take us off that tree, because I think the reason that oftentimes, white folks or even allies, sympathizers, depending to the degree to which they are aligned, with us. But to the lesser degree, they like Rise Up. They like, Strange Fruit, and are comfortable with it because it is Black people from a victim perspective. You know what I mean? They're not in control. They're victims. They're hanging from a tree. They're sad blood at the root, twisted mouth, burning flesh. Oh, it sort of feeds into that savior complex of like, it's so sad. And this is such a powerful song because of the struggle. My question was, is it as powerful if Strange Fruit is healthy, if the blood at the root is not sad, but it fertilized us and made us strong, if it's a brolic strange fruit, if it is a cutting down the tree and has ownership of the tree and the houses and the plantation and the everything, and is not just, in positions of leadership, but is just in control, right? Has the number one spot or whatever you want to say. Is it as comfortable when Strange Fruit is armed the way you're armed? Is it as comfortable when Strange Fruit is mobilized and unified and pushing, the conversation and the fight forward? Absolutely. Is that as beautiful to you? You know what I mean? So I really wanted to just, put the battery in our back, you know what I mean? And honestly, I wanted to intimidate people who are foes to progress. I'm okay with you being uncomfortable with these lyrics.
You have to grow. You have to grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're done growing. You guys have to do a lot of growing.
You gotta grow. Yeah, I gotta grow a lot.
Sorry, go ahead.
One of my favorite Chappelle jokes, I think it was on Sticks and Stones, is, he under the table quietly threw himself an assist when he was just saying, you want to change the gun laws? Have every Black American go and register and get a gun tomorrow. That's when you'll change the gun laws. They will change that shit tomorrow.
They'll be uncomfortable.
One gun per African American per zip code, because that's way too many guns. You know what I mean?
And that was actually so perfectly said, because it's true.
It's true.
It's
got to make them uncomfortable. But all that stuff about there has to be a bad guy. There has to be somebody making $7.25 an hour for the last 20 years just so we can get as much profit as we can.
That's a construct.
Absolutely.
It is a way of thinking where you're saying to yourself, first and foremost, what about the small businesses? You're like, whoa. Nobody has learned in the last 30 years how to run a business and just pay a certain number of dope employees $15 an hour versus like a whole versus 14 shiftless ones where only 3 of them are dope, and you bitching about the other ones, but you still got them on your payroll. Just have 5 of them do the work of them all 14 because they dope at it, and pay them the money. And pay them so they won't have to go to another job and then work another shift and then try to raise a family and then come back to your job all burnt out because they can't do that shit for months at a time. And that's why you get half-ass workers. Figure that shit out and stop talking to America like we don't even have the money to all of a sudden start paying people a livable wage.
Right, exactly.
Y'all voting on 1.9 trillion. Y'all can print that shit up that quick? How long
exactly.
Just in a week?
Stuff.
Say that.
You know how long it took me to count all them ones back in the day and put the rubber back? Anyway.
Not once.
I didn't sell drugs. I sold Snickers. I was the candy man. But I was moving weight. I was moving weight.
Bars.
I was Nino Brown of Snickers and Mr. Goodbar at the crib.
I miss those days. You're going to see me in the neighborhood, actually, probably in the next week. I'm going to be like, y'all want to buy these Reese's Pieces? I'm raising money to fund my movie.
Who are the two we about to educate the millennials and then Generation Z. Who are the 2 artists, dead or alive, you poured them into a cup, you have to call that drink Andra Day? Who were dead or alive?
Just 2.
Just 2.
Okay.
You pour 2 people into a cup and you say, oh yeah, that's my drink. That's me.
Okay. I would say Billie Holiday is obviously is a huge one. It's hard to do too. Let's see. Billie Holiday and
we'll let you put a lemon on it and that'll be another person. So that'll be 3 people.
Be your garnish.
That'll be your garnish. So Billie is 1.
Shoot, I want 4. Okay. So I'll say Billie Holiday, and I will say Lauryn Hill. Billie Holiday and Lauryn Hill, yeah. But the reality is I want to say Billie Holiday, Nina Simone, Lauryn Hill, and Erykah Badu. Yeah, I feel like those women influenced me so much. But then I'm like, I can't leave Jill out the conversation. I can't leave Ella out the conversation. Whitney Houston, I can't leave Aretha. It's just like Gladys,
Can't even put no ice in that drink. You got to drink that neat. That's how white people say neat. I'll have that on. Just neat.
Yes. I blend so many things into my smoothies anyway. I think it's fair that I could add all these ingredients.
Health-wise, any tips for anybody out there? I know you work out. I've seen the garage door up. I know you work out. And
that shit is a disaster right now. Oh my God, it's been a whirlwind. It's so crazy.
Everybody in that neighborhood
I will say health.
No, go ahead.
Health tips. Go ahead. What were we saying?
Go ahead.
I was saying health tips, I think for me, start spiritually healthy. You know what I mean? And not everybody believes the way I do. So I'll just give you my perspective on it. And then you have to apply it to what it is you believe. But I start my days with devotion. So I spend my time. I try not to encounter anyone or anything before I pray and before I read the word and before I meditate on what it is I'm reading and understand and seek understanding. So to me, health starts with your spirit. And so that's a huge thing. And then, I need that because honestly, I just be fucking up the rest of it. I don't really sleep.
Right.
So I was like, the spiritually healthy person, the only one I really kind of have a handle on a little bit. But no, I mean, exercising too, you know what I mean? Just it's internal stuff more than anything. Exercising is a big part, you know what I mean? Drinking water, definitely. But I also think authenticity is a part of health too, right? You know what I mean? Trying to be just as honest as possible, to just not allow distractions and things into your spirit, So I don't know. We'll go with spiritual health for this podcast today. That's
all right.
The thing.
A little birdie told me in the smoothie store that her baby wasn't getting no sleep. And I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm in my garage from 1:30 in the morning to like 3:30 in the morning every like at least 5 days out of the week. Everybody's asleep. I'm in that garage. I got my music going or whatever I need to create because there's so much to do. It ain't gonna get done. It ain't gonna get done if you don't do it. It's not gonna get done the way you want it done.
That's what it is right there. And I was like, and maybe to our own detriment, we're perfectionists, you know what I mean? But like artists, there is something, and I've tried to fit into the mold with my band of let's work from 11 a.m. like banking hours, you know what I mean? But I'm like, nigga, that's not what we do. We create content. You create amazing, video and sketches and all of the things that you do. We make music, we make, movies or TV or just writing or just, and is there something about those hours when there's nobody who's going to text you or call you or email you? There is a quietness and there's something in the stillness and I can't help it. When I try to go to sleep and it's dead quiet, my brain will either be like, "Ooh, I had an idea," or be like, "Where's your birth certificate?" I'm like, "Ooh, where is my birth certificate?" You know what I mean? Like, but like,
I get it. Yes. If it's too quiet, my brain will not rest. I will not sleep. No. I gotta have noise. I gotta have ambient noise, or I gotta have MSNBC or CNN or whoever. Yep. So I just got to have that repetition of somebody. The next thing I know, I'm out. But if not,
and then I'm out. That's the only way I can sleep.
If I only hear myself, I'm the same way. I'm like, damn, that front door unlocked. I know it's unlocked. But the chances of somebody picking my house and coming in my door to kill us, because the other two houses next, they way doper. They'll probably start there first. Like I'll talk to myself.
There's no way they would do ours. No way they would do ours.
No way. They got reindeer. She got reindeer. Yeah, they definitely ain't going in the reindeer house. They know they crazy. And then they ain't coming in my house because it's just like, his truck is a 2010. No, we don't need to go in this house.
Yeah, that's real. No, that's the thing. But you understand, and that's only when I speak to sort of other artists or other personalities or whatever that really go like, yes. I mean, it's a part of our play. We don't. That's sleeping at those normal hours is not, it's not conducive to creating things. Not so far, you know what I mean? To where eventually we'll get there someday. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, if you really have me at a table read or whatever. Like if you have me somewhere and it's between the hours of like 9:30 and 4:30, to me that's work. That's like I'm getting a check for that. This why am I here?
Right.
Because I could, I'm supposed to be at the crib or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you've worked yourself up to that point in your career where you're like, I get to choose the projects that I want to work on now.
Right.
And even when there's nothing popping, now it's on me. So
that's me.
That's more work. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's it. I think that's it. It's the burden of everything is on you. You know what I'm saying? Everything is like, people just think they see the aftermath, they see what we've already made, but it's sort of like, if we're not working in this business, we're not working. You know what I mean? It's not like a job that we just show up to unless we're pursuing something, we are not working. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that's, I think what people don't quite understand, but God is great. I'd be like, I'm good. I'll get the rest that I need at some point, and I'm good. I feel fueled. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the last thing that we always ask people before they leave. If you had the opportunity to drop a jewel or tell our people something that they didn't know about you, that you want them to understand, I want you to say, "Hey, this is Andra Day. I want you to understand this," and then say what you want to say.
Okay. Okay. This is Andra Day, and I want you to understand this. That at the end of the day, everything I do is just, because I love God and I love people, and that's it. It's as simple as that.
Let me tell you something, people. They wanted me to play Ray, but Jamie Foxx, I wasn't feeling well, and so anyway, long story short, Andra Day is sensational in the United States versus Billie Holiday. The performance is incredible. I'm looking forward to the album June 4th. And you can follow her on all her social media. But Jeannie D's, man, we just got blessed.
Hey, we got a superstar.
We just got blessed. We got a Golden Globe winner. We got a if she don't have a trophy, if she don't have a trophy at the end of this season, I'm gonna flat somebody tires. I'm gonna go old school. I'm gonna flat some tires. I know where some of these people stay. You killed it.
Listen, they gotta do it. Because my other homie was telling me, it was like, I got a whole speech and a whole plan ready for they don't give it to you. So I was like, man, y'all might want to give it to me just out of self-preservation. Because I got a whole gang that's not gonna be happy.
We gonna march. We're going to march. Hey, Andra, thank you so much.
Bless y'all. Thank y'all so much. Thank you, Finesse. And I'm gonna see you probably down the block in 5 minutes.
You know it, you probably will. That was Andra Day, everybody. This has been Understand This. Jeannie D's.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, Andra.
Bye-bye. We want y'all to rate, review, subscribe.
Subscribe, all that.
All that. YouTube, subscribe.
Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get podcasts, we're everywhere. And share it with a friend. It really helps out the algorithm.
Share it with a friend. It helps it out. If you have an iPhone and there's an Apple podcast icon, go to it. You can listen to these. These are yours. They'll come to your phone.
It's easy. We made it easy.
We made it easy. We are growing on YouTube. We are growing on social media. And it's all because of you. And we're going to keep bringing you dope interviews and different people's perspective in the world. And as you can see, all we doing is just making sure you understand this.